Okay, while I recognize that this is a retro recipe, because I was in high school when it came out, I'm feeling a little old. Okay, first, please excuse the condition of my hands. I burned them on some roux last week. Kind of splashed up on me, and that was just not fun, but it's left some marks I think I'll have for a bit. Anyway, so today is another cheesecake recipe. This is actually the first cookbook I ever got as an adult. As a child, I had a junior cookbook version. I think the only thing I ever made from it was a chocolate peanut butter shake. But this, my Aunt Linda gave me when I was 18. It was printed in 1989, so it had been in circulation for a couple of years before I received it. I've cooked a few things from here. It's my preferred cornbread recipe is in here, although I use a lot less sugar than the recipe calls for because cornbread is not supposed to be sweet. But today we're doing the Cheesecake Supreme, page 130. And I'm making this for a work event, so my kids do not get to try it. I'm sure they're very unhappy with me. But it calls for 1 3/4 cups of finely crushed graham crackers, a 1/4 cup of finely chopped walnuts, a 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon, a 1/2 cup butter, 3 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. You will note this actually calls for cream cheese. This is the first one I've done for the videos that actually calls for cream cheese. 1 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of vanilla, a 1/2 teaspoon finely shredded lemon peel, 2 eggs, 1 egg yolk, a 1/4 cup of milk. And the fruit sauce is optional, so I did not do that because this is enough work as it is. So it's for the crust, combine the crushed crackers, nuts, and cinnamon. Stir in margarine or butter. Reserve a 1/4 cup of the crumb mixture for topping if desired. Press remaining into bottom about 2 inches up sides of the 8 or 9-inch springform pan. In the mixer bowl, combine cream cheese, sugar, flour, vanilla, and if desired, lemon peel. Beat with an electric mixer until fluffy. Add eggs and yolk all at once, beating on a low speed just until combined. Stir in milk, pour into crust-lined pan, sprinkle with reserved crumbs, if any. Place on a shallow baking pan in oven. Bake in a 375-degree oven for 45 to 50 minutes for the 8-inch pan, which is what I'm using. Cool for 15 minutes, loosen crust from sides of pan. Cool for 30 minutes more, remove sides of pan, cooling completely. Chill at least 4 hours. Serve with fruit sauce if desired. Makes 12 to 16 servings. This is going to be for an event with 20 people, but there will be other desserts. Our department has a tradition of 4 cakes for every birthday. So 3 will be purchased, and then the 4th one will be the cheesecake that I made. So fortunately, I had the walnuts here, and the only thing I had to buy for the recipe was the graham crackers and the cream cheese. Everything else was on hand, and I just put the walnuts and the graham crackers through a food processor to make the fine crumbs that were required, and of course added the cinnamon. I mixed this with a fork before adding the melted butter. And then I just stirred until all of the crumb mixture was moistened. And then per instructions, I set aside a 1/4 cup of the mixture. This was similar to the 1942 one that I did, and then just put this into my springform pan. I love this thing. It's probably one of the first what I would consider specialty kitchen items I ever got. I was in my early 20s, I think. And of course, I just pressed it down with one of the measuring spoons I had used to measure out the crumbs. So this is the first one recently of the cheesecake recipes I've done that actually called for cream cheese. Now, I've had this cookbook since 1991, and I think this is probably only the second time I've made it, because I said 25 years ago was the last time I used this recipe. It seemed like a lot of work back then. And it's not, it really is, it's actually pretty simple, but the 3 packets of cream cheese, the flour, sugar, vanilla, and lemon peel, and throw it into the mixer. Of course, maybe this is why it seems easier these days, because I have a really nice mixer that I didn't have in my 20s. And you blend until fluffy. Then you add the 2 eggs and egg yolk. Thank you, Julie, for the donation of fresh chicken eggs. And then added a 1/2 cup of milk. This time I used some of the powdered cream I have, and then poured it into the springform pan. And as you can see, I make a little bit of a mess. I'm not the most graceful. Hence, the roux burns on my fingers. And then after cleaning up the cutting board and edges of the pan, I sprinkled the crumb mixture that I had set aside over the top. Also not very neatly this time. Oops. So this is what it looked like when it first came out of the oven. Those cracks were actually very disturbing to me. But once it cooled, you can't see them anymore. And it looks a lot like the cake that I did from the 1942 cookbook. Thank you for watching. And if you're still enjoying these, please like and subscribe. I do actually find it rather motivating. Thank you.